We've all seen it happen, right? You get this all-star team together. They're smart, they're talented, they're motivated, they practice, they prepare, they have everything they need to succeed. And then, somehow, they just fizzle. It's one of the most frustrating things in the world. So, what is really going on there?
And that's the big question we're going to dig into. Why is it that one team, with all the right people and all the right resources, can pull off something amazing, while another team that looks almost identical on paper just completely falls apart under pressure? Well, the answer is probably not what you're thinking. We're always told practice makes perfect. Just put in the hours, grind it out, and eventually the team will click. But what if all that practice is actually missing the most important piece of the whole puzzle? To find that missing piece, we have to look past the practice field and into the mind itself. The secret to all of this, it turns out, is a concept that researchers call a team's shared brain. It's this hidden ingredient that transforms a bunch of individuals into a single cohesive unit. Okay, so first we have to start small with the individual. Every single one of us has what's called a mental model for basically everything we do. You can think of it like a little blueprint inside your head. It tells you how something works, what to expect, and what you should do next. So then, what happens when a team starts to gel? Well, their individual blueprints start to line up. They develop what's called a shared mental model, a collective understanding of their world. It's like everyone is finally working from the same exact set of plans. But, and this is important, it turns out there are different kinds of blueprints. And this right here is the absolute key. There are two types of these shared models. First, you've got the task model. This is all about the what, understanding the gear, the rules, the overall strategy. But then there's the T model, and this is the who and the how. This is about understanding your teammates' roles, knowing their strengths and weaknesses, and having a plan for how you're all going to communicate and coordinate, especially when things go sideways. So this all sounds great in theory, but how do we know it actually makes a difference? Well, to find out, we're going to go inside the lab, or in this case, inside a high-stakes flight simulator. Our whole explainer is based on this really cool study from way back in 2000, published in the Journal of Applied Psychology. A group of researchers wanted to put this whole shared brain idea to the test and see if it really had an impact on how teams perform. So here's what they did. They got 56 brand new teams, just two people who'd never worked together before, and put them in the cockpit of an F-16 fighter jet simulator. One person played the pilot, flying the plane. The other was the navigator, in charge of weapons, radar, all the critical info. They absolutely had to work together to have any chance of success. The setup itself was pretty straightforward. Every team got a 45-minute training session. Then, bam, they were thrown into 6 intense 10-minute combat missions. And they were scored on 3 simple things. Did you survive? Did you hit your navigation points? And did you take down the enemy? So, after all of those simulated dogfights and high-pressure situations, what did the researchers actually find? Well, this is where it gets really, really interesting. The results showed this crystal-clear path to success. The data pointed to a direct link. Teams that had more aligned or shared mental models had much better teamwork, better communication, better coordination, and that improved teamwork, in turn, led directly to a higher score in the simulator. But here's the kicker. It wasn't just about having any shared model. The type of shared brain they built, well, that made all the difference in the world. What the researchers found was that being on the same page about the task, the what, was helpful, for sure, but it only had an indirect impact on their final score. Knowing how the F-16 worked was important, but it wasn't the ultimate driver of their success. The real performance engine, the thing that truly separated the good teams from the great ones, was the team model. Being in sync on the who and the how, really understanding each other's jobs and how they would coordinate their actions, that's what predicted amazing teamwork and ultimately a successful mission. Okay, so let's bring this all back to where we started. What does this mean for that original problem of talented teams that just can't seem to win? This study finally gives us the answer to why just practicing more and more can be a total dead end. The researchers themselves put it perfectly. They wrote that practice alone was sufficient to enhance how well the teams could coordinate, but it did not crystallize in terms of greater mental model sharedness. So, what does that actually mean? Let's break it down. Just by practicing, the teams got better at the actions of teamwork. Their physical coordination got smoother. But, and this is the huge but, they didn't automatically get any more aligned in their thinking. Their shared brain didn't just magically develop on its own.
And here's the big takeaway from all of this. Great teams are not an accident. They don't just happen because you put in the hours. They are built through a deliberate, conscious effort to get on the same page, especially about the who and the how of the team itself.
And that really leaves us with one final question to think about. The next time you're part of a team, ask yourself this. Are we just going through the motions here, just practicing the task over and over again? Or are we actually doing the hard work of building our shared brain?